Tonight, calls for EC bosses removal gain momentum as fresh pressure mounts on President John Dramani Mahama to take decisive action on pending petitions.
As a matter of fact, we've not had any proper communication or any clear communication as to what action that the president is hoping to take on our petition. I think we sent it in January, and that was the first one, and then around April we sent a follow-up.
We'll hear from one of the petitioners, Positive Transparency and Accountability Movement Africa, which is asking the presidency to give attention to their petition. Top story, as always, is brought to you by Telecel Connecting Energies. My name is Fostina, Sarfo. Tonight, pressure is mounting on President John Dramani Mahama to take decisive action on petitions calling for the removal of the Electoral Commission chairperson, Jean Mensah, and her two deputies. The Positive Transparency and Accountability Movement Africa filed one of such petitions in January, highlighting three grounds for her removal. One, financial loss of the state. 2, creation of a constitutional crisis. And 3, allegations of misconduct and abuse of public funds. We'll hear from the petitioners shortly, but first, here's Professor Sarfo Agyemangua, former UN Senior Governance Advisor, who says the process for Jean Mensah's removal may already be underway.
If you look at the party, the NDC, during the campaign, it was stated publicly, not only by the flag bearer, who is now the president, but also by some stalwarts of the party, that when they come to power, the Chief Justice will be removed. It was stated clearly. And that reminds me of the same situation when the NPP was in opposition. And they, including Akufo-Addo, who was the flag bearer, and some of his stalwarts also indicated that when they come to power, they will remove the chairperson of the Electoral Commission. And I'm citing this to create a context for me for how dangerously we are treading in terms of how our independent institutions ought to be protected in order to have trust. We don't have to politicize certain key institutions of governance so that people can continuously have trust and believe in the role that they play in a democracy. So, and I made a point then, before even the elections, that President Akufo-Addo has made a very dangerous, he has set a dangerous precedent by removing Charlotte Osei, and I still stand by that statement that I made. And that is what seemed to have opened this gateway for chief political actors to begin to work the way they are working with independent institutions. In fact, yesterday we were told that the NDC has not finished yet in terms of people that they intend to remove. And I guess it will be the electoral commissioners, and I think a petition has already been sent to the president.
That was Professor Agyemangua speaking to my colleague Emefa Akosua-Adeti earlier today on the M Show on the Joe News channel. Well, he's not alone. In June, the NDC national chairman, Johnson Asiedu-Nketia, made similar suggestions on PM Express on the Joe News channel. He says that the EC chair's tenure could be drawing to a close.
It means that bringing it back into an institution that is fit for purpose, the way it is existing now, it's not fit for purpose. Because you cannot have, with all the laws that we have, you cannot still be having an election that will go into a stalemate. There is no anticipation of any stalemate in elections in any of our laws, unless people don't want to do their work well. And so it's a clear case of, negligence or inability to perform its functions. So it's a good reason why the Electoral Commission needs to be reset. And that is not the only issue. Remember, 4 years ago, there was the issue of SAL. A whole constituency went unrepresented for 4 years. And then, so when this commission, as presently constituted, took over the reins of the Electoral Commission, they have never done an election that is satisfactory. These two major elections, the first one constituency went unrepresented for 4 years. And then their second election is this one. And then with the by-elections, Ayawaso West, Wogon, everything has been removed. So there is overwhelming evidence that this commission is not fit for purpose. And if any serious country will want to maintain this type of electoral commission, then I don't know what the country is about.
So there will be a change at the EC leadership?
There has to be a change.
Mensah must go?
Yes, I think the three top leadership must all go.
That will be the chairperson herself and her two deputies.
Yeah.
Mensah, then Boxman Asari, and I believe you've been working for, it's not always in the news.
Tete. They must all go. They have mismanaged the commission so badly.
So while official channels remain quiet, the pressure is beginning to pile, and some say the silence from the presidency is only raising more eyebrows. Vice President of Petitions Africa, Rashid Issa, is renewing his calls for President John Dramani Mahama to act.
As a matter of fact, we've not had any proper communication or any clear communication as to what actions that the president is hoping to take on our petition. But we've put in some reminders, and then we are hoping that, they have structured ways of doing their stuff. We've also given ourselves some time that if we've not heard anything within that time frame, we'll go back to the presidency and then demand a proper follow-up. But as of now, there's been no direct communication. We have only kept to our cool because we are seeing other measures or other decisions being taken that we assume that it will trickle down to the point where what we are asking for will also be done.
What exactly were you expecting of the president at the time you sent your petition?
We have all witnessed certain, should I call them misfortunes under the or mismanagement and other things happening under the leadership of the Electoral Commissioner to the ordinary Ghanaian, especially considering the fact that our taxpayers' money were being used to, pay her for the work she does for us. We cited some examples like the electoral violences that happened at Ayawaso West.
Well, we will be speaking to them shortly here on Top Story, but my colleague Caleb Sibilim joins me in the studio as we look at the processes that the law provides for the removal of the EC chair. What exactly have we been finding?
Yes, Fostina. So the Constitution does not spell out a direct procedure for removing the EC chair. Instead, Article 44, Clause 2 of the Constitution says that the EC chair enjoys the same terms and conditions as a justice of the Court of Appeal. So the prevailing understanding is that removal from the same process will be required for the EC chair, as outlined in Article 146 of the Constitution. So according to Article 146, the grounds for removal are misbehavior or incompetence, and a petition has to be first sent to the President. The President then refers it to the Chief Justice to determine whether there's a prima facie case. If the Chief Justice finds that there is, a 5-member committee is set up, and the constitution of the 5-member committee is 3 Superior Court justices appointed by the Judicial Council, and then 2 other persons who are not members of the Council of State, not MPs and not lawyers, and they will be appointed by the Chief Justice on the advice of the Council of State. This 5-member committee investigates and makes recommendations to the Chief Justice, who forwards it to the President, and then the President again is bound to the recommendation.
Thank you so much, Kelly. Well, let's explore this further here on Top Story. Join me now is Vice President for Positive Transparency Accountability Movement Africa, and he's just joined us to give us his thoughts on some of the key concerns they're raising. He's Vice President of Positive Transparency Accountability Movement Africa, Rashid Issa. We appreciate your time here on Top Story. I'll start with the key grounds that you are pushing for the removal of the EC chair. In your motion, you state financial loss to the state. Expatiate on that for me.
Thank you very much, Fostina, and a good evening to your listeners. Just like you have clearly stated, there were a number of reasons that we based on in our petition on which the president should consider, one of which was causing financial loss to the state. Following our electoral processes keenly, we remember there was a time prior to the 2020 elections where the Electoral Commission chairperson was bent on, going through a new voter registration exercise. And then we believe at such a time the country was facing difficult economic crisis. Various stakeholders came up to give reasons why it should be looked at or delayed, but she still went forward and then was looking at investing some over $80 million of taxpayers' money into registering new people or creating a new voters register when she had not given any proper or clear reason why the old one elections that we were preparing to enter into. And then we believe that for the position she holds and then the kind of, what we expect of her, that was one heavy ground on which, if we are looking at the Article 146 of the 92 Constitution, was a reason why she should be taken off or not considered to continue her duty as chairperson of the Electoral Commission. And now going forward, we gave other reasons also. Aside causing financial loss to the state, you saw that we stated constitutional crisis, we stated misconduct of office. So we are looking at a situation whereby we had in the 2020 elections where a whole constituency were deprived of their constitutional rights to vote and elect a member of parliament.
Okay. Noted, because this petition came as far back as January, and so the details of this petition for our audience, they may be aware of it. Now, you filed this petition as far back as January. We're currently in September. You haven't heard from the presidency. Have you tried reaching out to them to find out why exactly there's a delay?
Well, Petitions Africa has made various efforts right from the 8th of January 2025 when this new government took over office. We led the process of submitting a petition for her removal. We believe that as a new government or institution, they were going to take some time to settle and put their institutions that were supposed to look at these things or help their government to put in place. So ideally, we give them a number of months to settle. Around April, we have not got any proper feedback, so we decided to send in another reminder to the office of the president, and then we have decided to give ourselves some 6 more months to see if there's going to be any action that will be taken towards that. But we have also taken notice of certain actions or decisions by this government that we believe is geared towards achieving the same goal. So we're only keeping our fingers crossed and then also meet as a team to decide our next line of action. I don't know if I'm still here. Hello? Hello? All right. So, yes, these are basic reasons.
Unfortunately, we didn't have connection to him earlier, but Now we've been able to reconnect the line. Mr. Issa, I'm sure you can hear me now. We apologize for the technical difficulties. I was just finding out from you, we seem to have lost him there. Mr. Issa just joined us to share his thoughts on their next line of action. If you just tuned in, this is Top Story. We are speaking to one of the leading members of a group that has filed a petition seeking the removal of the EC chair and her deputies. They call themselves Positive Transparency Accountability Movement for Africa. And indeed, they have joined us here on Top Story. They are piling pressure on President John Dramani Mahama to look into their petition. Well, this is not the first petition that has been filed seeking the removal of the EC chair. Two of them have been filed. And this, they tell us, they filed initially in January and then sent another petition in April just to follow up on the initial petition. Unfortunately, they say they have not heard from the presidency. I'm sure I have clear connection now to Mr. Issa, who's joined us on the line. I just wanted to find out from you, are you considering other means to force the hand of the president should he fail to act within the 6 months timeline that you have prescribed for the presidency?
Yes, definitely. As an association, we have various actions outlined. And then we've, like you have said, given timelines to them as and when we should act on them. The second 6 months, the second timeline we give after April is gradually getting near. And I believe that as we've entered September, if we don't get any proper signs, our next line of action will be made public to the media and the general public.
Wait, let me bring in. Yeah, however, you were about to make a point.
Yes, however, I would say to some extent we are a bit comfortable, even though there's been no communication, that we will be heard, because we've seen certain actions or decisions that the government is taking that we believe that is, to borrow their words, is part of their restructuring or reset agenda. So we are only hoping that gradually our call will be heard and then our wish will be granted.
Now, stay with me. Let me bring in Kofi Bendel, his Senior Vice President for Imani Africa. We appreciate your time here on Top Story. Kofi, now pressure is piling on the presidency to act on some of these petitions, but is he under any obligation to act quickly, since the law doesn't actually give a timeline really as to when petitions of this nature should be heard?
Well, good evening to everybody. So his obligations are those that are stated in the law. So he's not supposed to act quickly or supposed to be late in his actions. He's supposed to act timeously and supposed to act with reasonable expedition. All right. To that extent, it means given the circumstance, you can determine if somebody is acting as they should or not. Is the line clear, please? I'm getting some breaks here.
Loud and clear.
Very well. Okay, so my point is, it is not whether he's fast or he's not. Sometimes the law gives sufficient room for the person who is wielding the power to act reasonably, and that is given the circumstance. So, given all the circumstances around this, I think that it is proper that that particular petition against the EC has waited because, of course, you see the one that had to do with the Chief Justice, etc. Now they may take a look at it, but another thing arises. You have a situation where people are trying to use the legal and constitutional processes to air their grievances and to seek redress. And in the context of the EC, Imani Africa, of which I'm the Senior Vice President, has had a long-running issue with the EC already, before this government came into place. In fact, we've been ridiculed by the EC. People have called us all kinds of names, queuing theory and whatever it is, because of our standing advocacy against some of the things at the EC which we find unlawful and which we believe are an abuse of their powers, which cost this country unnecessarily huge sums for elections. We have been using the process. We have made it entirely, an objective process devoid of any personal sentiment or political considerations. To that extent, therefore, we have even written to Shraj. And as I speak, we are in communication with Shraj, going back and forth, trying to deal with the issues in an objective way, using the systems and the government institutions as is proper. The worry that we have now is that despite our long-running issues And the fact that indeed we want these matters to be dealt with objectively, it can play into some people's hands and play into their political schemes. That is a worry. Why is it a worry? You don't want some of these things to become, tools in the hands of politicians who will wield them crudely to exact their own retribution and vendetta against people they don't like. So that is where our worry is. And to the extent that these things can be used as such, it becomes dangerous. And if that danger is not dealt with, we will arrive at a situation where nobody can trust any institution of state, and every political leader is going to walk in with his own security chiefs, his own electoral commissioner, his own chief justice, and etc., etc., etc.
So fundamentally, Kofi, if you allow me come in at this point, fundamentally you agree with some of the key concerns raised by the petitioners about the conduct of the EC chair and their deputies, but you're concerned about the implication to the office.
No, we don't agree with anybody. We agree with what we ourselves have said about the EC. And we don't know what other people's motivations are. So I'll leave them to theirs. And I'm saying that we have our own problems with the EC. But we are minded that the systems will work. We don't want anybody to use this as a crude political tool. So it's not whether we agree with somebody or not. Maybe there will be things that they've said which are very similar to what we have also said. But we all have different motivations. What I am raising is that these things can have the unintended effects of playing into the hands of political actors who may not have a grievance per se, as we do, but will have a certain political aim to remove somebody. And I'm saying we should guard against the abuse of the process for use by politicians or political actors to remove people they don't like. It will be best if, as a country, we proceed on these things on principle and deal with the issues as they arise. Then we can improve the system. But where we have a situation where people come in and they remove other people, whether the people have done wrong or not, we are going to end up in a situation that we all don't like.
Kofi, stay with me. Let me bring in Justice Abdullah. He's a private legal practitioner. Join us here on Top Story. I appreciate your time. And I know that legally there are gray areas as to timelines when it comes to the removal of the EC chair.
That's absolutely correct.
Tell me more about that.
You're right to the extent that there are no timelines in the removal of the heads of our constitutional bodies. Most of it spells out under Article 146 and 8 as was used in the case of Charlotte Osei, and indeed also used in the case of the just suspended and removed CJ Justice Tokoni. So what you would notice is that the Constitution only provides the means of doing of the removal process, but it doesn't provide timelines within which they be done. And so everything is then dependent on the whims of the duty bearer to determine as and when the person believes is appropriate. As my colleague Sophie said, most of these are guided by reasonable judgment. And so much as there are no unlimited time allowed the duty bearer to invoke the provisions of the Constitution relating to removal or otherwise. The same Constitution does also not allow too short a period of time to do these things. So you are supposed to hasten, but with the mindset of ensuring that you are getting the things done appropriately and in line with the Constitution.
But then, Counsel, the President has set precedent based on how he dealt with the petition seeking the removal of the Chief Justice. And so, though legally there are gray areas and there's a lacuna there, only with, we know, the other offices do they give clarity as to when exactly the President should act. But based on the precedent he has set, shouldn't he be acting swiftly?
So there again, we all admit that indeed there are challenges with the removal processes of our constitutional heads, institutions indeed. And so, as I called for earlier, when the petition for the removal of the CJ happened, that we would need to streamline the procedures. Because the procedure is the same for all heads of constitutional bodies. And so, much as but that's why sometimes some critics would tell you that it is too easy to remove anyone. But to say that it is the president is required to act swiftly or otherwise is difficult to say because of two main reasons. At this point, the petitioners believe that they had submitted their petition, but no one can confirm whether the president has actually received this document or not. And this is where it gets muddier. You may have submitted your document. It doesn't go to the president directly. Most of the time, you go to the, what's it called? I think there's a front desk at the Jubilee House where these things are received. And then they are dispatched to the appropriate offices. And so by the time it gets to the office of the president himself, you and I cannot determine that. So you may have done your part, but you can never determine exactly at what point in time the president received it.
Okay.
Of course, that is not to say that it should take a month. Even if the letter was stolen, I mean, you wouldn't expect that it takes a month from the point of delivery to the point where the president actually has fiscal custody of it, based on which you would act. But once again, once the president receives it, he is a president. He is also required to consult his advisors. And so it doesn't take just a minute for these things to happen.
But then the argument really is that the petition for the CJ's removal came even before the petition for the removal of the EC chair. And legally, we know that the only timeline given is for the removal of the special prosecutor. The law says 7 days. The petition should be referred to the Chief Justice. Let me wrap up with Kofi Bentil and Justice Abdullah as well as Rashid Issa. Rashid, I'll start with you. Final words, just 1 minute. Do you have that certified stamp from the presidency that ensures that indeed they received your petition?
Initially we know that there are various channels of distribution. What we did initially was to ensure that our petition was submitted to the office of the Chief of Staff, or let me say, I think Secretary to the President, Dr. Callistus Mahama, and that we believe that these are credible people who are assigned to handle some certain important duties of the President. So we believe that we submitted it to a desk that has what it takes to transition our petition to the President. As it stands now, even though it has delayed, I said earlier on that we believe the government has its own priorities. And as much as we feel that it's important to remove the EC chair as part of the reset agenda, they have their discretion to decide what they intend to do before the other. The only worrying part was that as an institution or as a movement, after we have submitted our petition officially and even followed up with a reminder, there should have been, or there should ideally to be a form of feedback or communication to show that indeed it's being worked on. However, they decide how they run their affairs. The most important thing Petitions Africa is looking out for is that the president will take into consideration the plight of ordinary Ghanaians and these citizens who were deprived of their constitutional rights and put an axe to it, that the EC chair and her two deputies must go.
Okay, thank you so much, Issa. Let me wrap up with Kofi Bentil. Your final words. So far, have you heard feedback? Oh dear, we seem to have lost Kofi Bentil. And that's how we wrap up Top Story. My name is Fostina Sarfo. I'm handing over the baton to Evans Mensah.
And the next 60 minutes here on Newsnight, MPP Legal Directorate evaluating alleged cases of election irregularities in Akwetia by-election for a possible legal showdown.
Yes, I'm receiving information on my messages from the Director of Elections.
What's the nature of the information?
There are infractions. I don't want to discuss it here now. I will assess every infraction brought to my attention on its merits.
Of traffic. So we'll hold you to your word. You say by end of second quarter next year, it should be finished. Okay, so after the exhaustion of the current payment that has been made, would it be enough to finish, or is there a supplementary payment?
And that's President Mahama issuing a stern warning to Fankor Inkswam Road contractor to meet June 2026 deadline for completion of the road rehabilitation project. We hear the response of the chief resident engineer of the project. Also tonight, Ivorian officials pledge full support, including food, shelter and security to thousands of Gonja Blefo ethnic conflict victims seeking refuge in Vankoro.
The data we have as food and logistic, we are giving it to them. We think that maybe our government and yours also bring enough for them.
And we'll also have the latest for you. Founder and leader of the Liberal Party of Ghana, Kofi Akpaloo, has been picked up by the Economic and Organized Crimes Office in the dawn operation at his Kumasi residence. We have details as he's been transported to Yoko's offices in Accra.
In business, government hits end-of-year inflation target even before December 2025 as August inflation reaches 11.5%.
You want to stay with us for that plus sports all here on Newsnight. The sports desk will also join us later with the reaction from the GFA to government's decision to cut its budget. Stay with us here on Newsnight. Details after this.
It's Telecel SME Month this September under the theme Connecting the Next Generation of Entrepreneurs. For our young emerging entrepreneurs, this month is loaded with major vibes tailored to your growth and ambitions. Sharpen your skills at the Telecel Business Runway and the AI Workshop, and connect with other change makers at our very first Telecel Red Mixer, an exclusive networking event. There's more. Unlock tailored products designed to match your unique business goals this Telecel SME Month. Your time is now to transform your genius into impact. Keep up with all the action by following Telecel on social media for updates, or visit our website www.telecel.com.gh/business.
Telecel, connecting energies.
Ade, couldn't sleep at night. Mosquitoes will be whining my ears, bugging me all night long. Till I got a remedy. Now I'll be spraying them away with holy insecticide spray. Me I go spray them away with holy insecticide spray. When I sleep, me dana with holy insecticide spray.
Holy mosquito coil, holy multi-purpose insecticide spray. Dana kron kron. For bulk purchase, call 0302 681582. This advert is FDA approved.
No. You look so relaxed and cheerful these days. What's your secret?
No secret, Kofi. I just sorted out my retirement with Shield Pension Trust. You should talk to them.
Retirement? A small time before pension.
Sure. The earlier you start, the better. And Shield Pension Trust makes this so easy for you. They've got amazing plans to choose from. I even signed up for the Shield Cedi Crow a day personal pension scheme, which lets you save as little as 1 Ghana Cedi a day towards your retirement. Isn't that great?
1 CD a day.
Exactly. And the best part is, I sign up automatically on the Dachia Promoting Plan, which guarantees me medical insurance when I go on retirement.
Hey, you've convinced me. I need to sign up now.
Kofi is making a move to secure his future and health insurance when he goes on retirement. What about you? Go to Shield Pension Trust or call us now on 050-915-0253 and we'll guide you through securing your pension tomorrow. Shield Pension Trust, into the future with you.
Announcing Ghana's first unlimited photocopier leasing. Yes, from just 983 Ghana cedis, you can lease a multifunctional photocopier and print unlimited. Yes, unlimited and free paper every month. Guess what? That's not all. Toners, repairs, and maintenance all are free. And oh, I'm not kidding at all. And we cover the whole country. Yes, the whole country. What are you waiting for? Just visit us at www.valexlease.com or call 0244 644048. I repeat, or call 0244 644048. Remember, terms and conditions apply. Valix Lease, affordable document management solutions.
You're welcome back to Newsnight. Joy News is learning that the Legal Directorate of the main opposition NPP is evaluating alleged cases of election irregularities in the Akotia by-election, potentially leading to a legal showdown. The NPP's candidate lost the election yesterday, with the NDC's Bernard Bediakubedu declared the winner, securing 54% of the votes. Shortly after the poll results were announced, the NPP said it has evidence suggesting the election may not have been free and fair. Listen to the party's Director of Legal Affairs, Gary Nimaku, speaking on PM Express last night.
So now, I must now look whether there were any infractions, irregularities, unsigned pin sheets, whatever there is to it. Look at the whole legal...
Are you preparing to go to court?
I am not saying I'm preparing to go to... I have to now call for the documentation on the Akotia by-elections. Assess the whole situation, and then now I can make a determination whether or not, indeed, the elections is worth challenging or otherwise. Because the same character, the same lawyer, was the same person who was challenging the case on behalf of his clients in court. But ordinarily, what I would have thought, when my late client had won the city with over 2,000 votes, when you know that parliamentary primaries or parliamentary elections is first past the post, which simply means that you must just win by one seat or one person, you have won. One person, you have won. It's not like presidential where you must win 50% plus one. 1%, just over one, you have won. However, they were challenging a seat won by over 2,000 votes. So how do I sit here and now say I'm going to admit that Bernard Bediakubedu has won with over 2,000 something, and so therefore, if now I'm presented with...
But you just said the NPP had lost. If the NPP has lost, they've lost, not long ago. So why the change in position all of a sudden?
Not that they have said they lost. Maybe there are infractions they are going to present to me. Because I'm sitting here, I'm getting messages on my phone.
What are those
of infractions?
Of infractions, which I'm here to assess. And so therefore, I should not be too quick to determine or make a determination. The reason is simple. If these infractions come to me and I make the assessment and I determine that they are frivolous, they are vexatious, they have no merit in it, I will inform the party that, please, these ones, I have overruled them, and so be it.
In your capacity as the Director of Legal?
Yes, I'm receiving information on my messages from the Director of Elections.
What's the nature of the information?
There are infractions. I don't want to disclose it here now, because I have to assess it within the nature of the remit of the law, and then see.
Am I sensing tit for tat here? You're simply going to drag this out in court against him to frustrate him.
They will throw his petition, if he files an election petition, they will throw it at his face.
I will assess every infraction brought to my attention on its merits.
Well, Gary Nimaku had disclosed in that interview you just had there that the MPP's Director of Elections had sent him the evidence of the infractions. Thankfully, we can speak to Evans Nemako, who is a Director of Elections of the MPP. Also joining me right now is the Deputy Director of Elections for the governing NDC, Tanko Rashid. Thank you very much, gentlemen, for your time. Evans, what's the nature of these infractions?
Evans, thank you for having me, and good evening to your listeners. I think the Director Legal was very measured. In Nakwetia, we had 119 polling stations. The committee is putting together all those issues that we felt were irregular. And so at the appropriate time, when we have assessed these situations, we will let the world know. For instance, you go to a polling station, you've mentioned Rashid Tanko, who didn't have accreditation to be at polling stations, was seen roaming all over polling stations, granting interviews here and there. You visit polling stations, and the NDC candidate, his flags, his posters are all over. These are irregular. And so when the Director Legal mentioned that he's waiting for full reports from the field so that we will know the position the party will take, he said it right. And I don't think Rashid is going to discount the physical attack on the third vice of our party, Masaudu, by their vice chairman, Alhaji Azoka. I don't think he's going to discount that. The verbal assault on the minority leader by NDC affiliates, that if they had met him at the polling station, he would have been a dead fellow. And the police have been watching. And I don't think these issues, we are going to discount them. So the Director Legal was right to say that the party is together all our issues and we confront them as such.
I mean, so far, the three examples you've mentioned, they aren't grounds to invalidate the election results, are they?
Oh, please, we will not conclude now. As I said, there are 119 polling stations, and you need to have a fair assessment of all development, and then you can get to that conclusion.
Thankfully, Rashid Tanko is with me. Rashid Tanko, why were you in polling areas when you did not have accreditation to be there?
Evans, let me say good evening to you and your cherished listeners. And my friend, Evans, Director of Elections of NPP. I have accreditation to be in any of the polling stations. Don't forget, I was a coalition agent of the NDC. As a coalition agent, I need to assess the places to be sure of what I'm coming to collect. That's what my friend didn't understand.
You've heard the other infractions that he's touched on, and which the legal director is currently evaluating, together with others, to determine whether or not they should challenge the outcome in a court of competent jurisdiction. What do you say to that?
All that they have mentioned, if you open to CI 127, you can't find any of that. I don't know where they are manufacturing their infractions from. Infractions that can invalidate a result, you can see them in CI 127. That is the document we use to run elections. And that's the problem I have with the MPP. You see, they should accept that they've lost the elections, and they lost it fairly. Their intention was to mar the beauty of the election yesterday. Unfortunately, we read through their intentions, and we didn't want them to do anything untoward. That's why when they provoked us severally, we just held ourselves and allowed them. Look, they went around removing our posters on poles, electric poles, and on walls. Ostensibly, they said they were close to the polling station. Meanwhile, if you look at the main Lorry station, they had a big banner of their candidate facing the direct polling booth where people were going to do the thumb printing before they put inside the ballot box. Nobody had a concerns about it. Anybody who was going to do a thumb print, if you raise your head, you are going to see Asmani. We didn't see it to be any problem. Because at that point, the poster could not change anybody's choice. Because we had finished our business, we had finished educating the people, and they knew that they were coming to vote for NDC. So there was no need going about fighting over frivolous issue of posters being here or poster not here. We didn't see it to be anything. In any case, one of the polling stations, their office was directly positioned, the ballot box was directly positioned close to their party office. In Wenchi, we didn't see anything wrong with that. So I don't know what they are talking about. I see they are hanging on a straw. And I think they should rather go back and do a reset of their party and come back clean.
But the rule regulating our elections in Ghana clear when it comes to what you can and cannot do around polling areas during voting. For example, you cannot display campaign materials, including posters, billboards, banners, or wearing party colors close to, and this is specified, close to the polling area. They say that you have that, and that is enough to point on irregularity, and that the police and the electoral commission allow that to happen.
Evans, I'm saying that both political parties are guilty of this. In Akutia yesterday, just take your cameras and go to where I'm telling you. As we speak now, the banners and billboards of their candidates are still situated at where the voting took place yesterday. Nobody vandalized it. Indeed, we were very civil. Our people wanted to retaliate, and we said, look, you people, you don't know what MPP are planning. If you retaliate, it will mar the beauty of our election. Allow them. They have gone to 2 of our areas and said our posters are just close to that place and remove them. We will not go and be removing their billboards and posters close to polling stations. We allow them. And now they are rather crying.
Evans Nemako, when do you estimate that you finish the process of compiling all the irregularities from the 119 polling stations? Hello, Mr. Nemako, are you there?
Hello, Evans.
I can hear you.
Hello, Evans.
Yes, I can hear you. When do you estimate you wrap up that process of compiling the irregularities?
There was no polling station that the New Patriotic Party removed flyers of the NDC's candidate. There was no way. Rather, the police had the unpleasant duty of removing ND material and their cars around polling stations. He said the MPP office had a polling station opposite. The MPP office is in Akwesia, and there was no polling station sited in front of that office. And so, if it seems that we are just making issues just like that, there are bases for what we are saying. I'm saying that if we get to Akwesia Lorry Station, 2 polling stations, you will see it. And so, what is it? The fact is the fact. There were media men around. You all saw them, unless, and I'm saying that he will say that when I met him, he had accreditation to visit polling stations. What he had was accreditation to be at the collation center, and you must say that then the EC can verify and authenticate.
Okay, I mean the man is on the line. Tanko, did you have accreditation to visit the polling stations?
It is one thing my friend doesn't want to understand and will not explain to you. When you are wearing accreditation to collation center, it doesn't mean you cannot go to a polling station. Indeed, you are not allowed to enter the inner perimeter of the polling station. I met him outside the polling station.
So you were not in the inner perimeter of the polling station.
I was not in the inner perimeter. Indeed, ask me whether I was in the inner perimeter. I didn't go into the inner perimeter. At the time we were discussing and the camera even captured. It captured us outside the polling station.
Okay.
If anybody was provoked in Akwesia by-election yesterday, it is the New Patriotic Party that was provoked. Our chairperson was physically attacked by the NDC.
And you have today asked that he be arrested. Have you heard from the police?
No.
And very quickly, do you accept the outcome of yesterday's by-election as a party?
The EC has announced the results. We are conducting our independent assessment.
Until then, you don't recognize the outcome?
Until then, the New Patriotic Party is conducting its internal assessment.
Thank you very much. That day. That there is Evans Demako is the director of elections for the MPP. Also, you had the deputy director of elections for the NDC. So the Coalition of Domestic Election Observers, they obviously do a good job providing us clarity, independent assessment, monitoring of our elections. Let's find out if they picked up any irregularities, if indeed they even monitored yesterday's by-election. Vera Ado is a programs officer at the CDD, the Center for Democratic Development. Vera, thanks for your time here on Newsnight. Did Kodeo deploy for yesterday's by-election?
Yes, we did deploy. We deployed 20 station observers, and then we also had about 3 observers who were roaming, moving from one polling station to the other. So we also observed what was happening through the media and also social media. Yeah.
Did you observe any irregularities, any infractions?
For what our observers reported, no, we did not observe any irregularities at the polling stations. What we saw were some reports from the media on some of the issues that we have seen on vote buying and some violence that's also happened. But our observers did not report any incident of irregularity.
So you didn't observe anything that may invalidate or call into question the voting itself and the results that were announced?
No, we haven't received any reports. I'm just hearing for the first time from the NPP person who spoke to me about some of these irregularities, but our observer did not report any of such.
In the brief summary for me, what did you observe then? What does your report say?
Okay, so for us as Kodio, when you're on the field, we have certain things we are looking at for. We observe the whole process from arrival. What time is the EC official arriving? How are they setting up? Is the setup even accessible to everyone? Are eligible voters allowed to vote? Is there a security person? The vote count. Were agents present? Did they sign the declaration sheet? So we look at all the phases, closing and counting. The last part is where the presiding officer has to post the result sheet at the polling station. And our observers observe all this process, that all these regulations were adhered to at the polling station. And so you realize that generally the process itself was good at the polling station. So this is what we look at for. And so if there's anything that the party has picked, I think it's fine. They can still go into it and report it. I don't think there's anything that should block them from moving forward. For what could you observe, we thought that it was generally peaceful election. Because we also saw a lot of police, which was a lot.
But would you say from what you observed that it was free and fair?
Yes. So a lot of things go into having an election being free and fair. Even though we did not observe votes buying, if candidates and parties are buying votes and selling votes, it doesn't make the competition fair. So we didn't see any incidents of that would indicate that the election was not free and fair. I think our main concern has been the number of police that were deployed and how much it is costing the state. Is that the precedent we want to follow? We also, in the media, some of the vote buying, do we want to continue? And the number of party officials and government officials that were in Akotia is also worrying. That we have to get to that point where national parties can go into the community or constituency to campaign. But on election day, I think we should just leave candidates and agents to observe the election. Most of the few things we saw on media and what was happening where people were not from Akotia. And so I don't think we need all these people in Akotia for the election. So a conversation we need to have broader on our by-election, how we go on with the regulation, especially with the political parties' presence in the various communities.
Vera, thank you very much. Vera Ado is Programs Officer with the Center for Democratic Development and also with CODEO, the Coalition of Domestic Election Observers. Still live here on Newsnight. It's on Joy 99.7 FM. Pal.
Well, Evans, you remember the Ofanko and Sawam Road? the bad nature of that road, well, drivers have threatened to protest over the deplorable nature. We have some update on it, and President Mahama has issued a stern warning to the contractor working on that project, emphasizing that he expects work to be completed by June 2026. Asphalting is set to begin soon on that section that has been under scrutiny on social media, with the chief resident engineer, Kwabna Binpom, confirming that about 70% of the project is already done. Now, despite previous delays, Kwabna Binpom says he's confident the contractor will meet the new deadline.
By way of construction, we finished, with about 4 kilometers, of the first session where we've done asphalt, and then beyond we've done, that is at Masama, beyond Masama, we've gone all the way to around kilometer 10. We had some challenges, in the past, but then with your support and that of the Honorable Minister, the contractor has received some funding, and for the past 2 weeks we've been working tirelessly. The areas where we had those challenges, where we saw in the social media, we are currently almost at the level of asphalt, where we are going to put on the asphalt that is a binder, and thereafter we'll continue all the way to the end. So this is in general what we've done. Now there have been a number of challenges in the past. The relocation of utilities, that is the electrical and water, especially on the contract left. And then there are a number of persons that are affected by the project. Some have taken us to court, and for the past 2 years we've been in court. But just recently we received, well, let me call it that they wanted to place an injunction on the project, but then that was not upheld by the contract. So right from last week we started demolishing those structures which are in the right of way to make way for us to complete our works. And we are also providing some cross drainage facilities to ensure that we do not have any adverse effects of water on the project. So by way, we've done almost 75% of the project. We still have the last structure, which is the Insawam underpass to undertake. Once that is done, we should.
And Pearl, the main concern some had raised in the wake of the what appeared to be a stalled project was that the contractor may not have been paid. Well, we're learning tonight, and we've been hearing from Kwame Agboja, who is a Roads and Highways Minister, who says government has fully settled its financial obligations to the contractor.
When you assumed office, the majority of the road contractors, were off-site because they raised certificates to the tune of over 30 billion Ghana cedi and were not paid. So they were not on site, including the contractor working on this project. You directed that we do whatever we can to make sure they return to site. Genuinely, people who apply this corridor were going through a lot of difficulties, and you expressed that very clearly that is not what we wanted. And you directed that all resources should be mobilized and make sure this contractor is paid to continue the work. Indeed, Mr. President, at the time you took office, the contractor raised a certificate of almost $78 million before NPP left power, and they did not pay him. So it was surprising that just after you took office, people were expecting that what they could not do all over that period, you would do it. But guess what, Mr. President, you did it. As of today, Mr. President, every certificate owed the contractor on this project had been paid entirely. So we don't owe the contractor any amount on this project. And I want to hold the consultant to his word that by second quarter next year, this project should be completed, because the physical progress is about 75%, and then financial performance is even slightly ahead of that. What it means is that there's enough resource for the contractor to continue and complete this project. So we are very grateful for your leadership, and hopefully if the contractor continues at the pace at which they are working, we shouldn't have any more difficulty almost up to the end of the project.
So you have the Roads and Highways Minister Kwame Agboja. Joining us now is presidential correspondent Maxwell Agbadba. So Maxwell, President Mahama has asked the contractor working on the Onfanko and Sawon Road project to complete the work by June 2026. Tell us more.
Yes, Pearl. So the president noted that the road is a critical national link as it connects Ghana's two biggest cities, Accra and Kumasi, stressing that any delays with the project directly affects thousands of people. He expressed relief that traffic is now flowing more smoothly, but urged the contractor to put in place adequate measures to maintain that flow during the works. He further questioned how a loan initially secured for the project could not see it through to completion, forcing the current government to make additional financial provisions. He said this is an issue. Now he asked the contractor working on the project to ensure that he keeps his promise of completing it by June 2026. We can hear him.
I can understand what happened. A loan was taken for this project, and I don't understand why the money is finished and the project is not over, and that we're having to come and pay supplementary almost 78 million from government of Ghana funds. So that's something that we need to find out. What really happened? How come the loan that was taken was not enough? Was it that the estimate for the project was not done properly, or what happened? But I can see that drivers are happy now, and I hope that from now till when you finish the project, you maintain a smooth flow of traffic even as you're working, so that you don't impede the flow of traffic. So we'll hold you to your word. You say by end of second quarter next year, it should be finished. Okay, so after the exhaustion of the current payment that has been made, would it be enough to finish, or is there a supplementary payment?
Well, as the Honorable said, we still have some more money left in the contract, to pay the contractor. So I believe that maybe in the course of time we will probably raise another certificate, and that should be able to take us to the end of the project.
Okay, what we've done is, like I instructed the minister, we've moved this contract onto the Big Push program, and enough provision has been made for the Big Push projects. Yeah, this year we have about 14 billion cedis, and next year we have another 30 billion cedis. So I think that there will be sufficient resources to keep contractors going.
Let's speak to the former Roads Minister, Francis Asenso-Boakye, joins me live right now on the line. Francis, thanks for your time here on Newsnight. We just learned both from the Transport Minister, the current one, and the President, that the contractor raised a certificate of more than 70 million, and you failed to pay that. The President also says that you took a loan, and he's not sure what you used the loan for. What happened there?
Thank you very much, Ivan, for the opportunity, and my greetings to your listeners. In fact, I just responded to the President's comments, and it is about the fact that the President said that we took a loan for this particular project, and the funds have been exhausted, but the road is not completed. I'm very surprised that such distortions is put out there while they know the fact. The entire cost of the project was $346 million. The government of Ghana secured an Ofori facility of $200 million to support the financing of this project, which was $346 million. So it is not true that the facility that we took was to finance the entire project. The rest of the funding was to come from Government of Ghana budgetary allocations. So it's a complete distortion. I mean, the finance minister has said this before. I responded. The current roads minister has said this before. I responded. And now the president has repeated that. I think that the president is wrongly briefed. He doesn't understand what he's talking about. Otherwise, he wouldn't have repeated the same mistakes that the finance minister and the road minister has been peddling.
The $200 million you took from the Afri-Exim Bank, did you disburse all of that before you left power?
Pretty much. I'm sure that information, the Finance Ministry will be able to provide that. But the point is that facility was not enough to complete the project. The project was $346 million, and the facility we took was $200. So it was supposed to support it. The funding is to come from the government of Ghana.
So there was a difference of 146 million that the government had to find from the budget to take care of.
And we were going to use government of Ghana funds to pay. And if today the president is saying that we are going to move it to the bush push, for me, with respect, it's neither here nor there. It's government of Ghana funding. So they should just pay the contractor the money.
But it's
so that it's completed.
Yeah, it's important to clarify because you're the minister in charge at the time. Out of the 200 million you took from the Afri-Exim, how much did you use for the road, and was any left?
As far as I'm aware, that facility that we took for that particular project had been used for the construction of the project. And the remaining 147 million is to come from government of Ghana funds. If, after the time that we were leaving office, the contractor was on site, the problem is that this year they put a freeze on the payment of contractors until about August. I think, July. And that is the reason why the contractor abandoned site and he was not able to work. So when a couple of weeks ago they gave the contractor some money, the contractor quickly remobilized his site and started working. So the delay this year is entirely because of the freeze on payments to contractors.
Thank you very much. That says there is Francis Asenso-Boakye, is the former roads minister. And Pearl, we have more for you. You want to stay with us. George himself is joining us with some good news as far as inflation is concerned.
Well, it depends on where you're standing, Evans. For government, they think that the end of the year, they promised, or they were looking at ending December 2025 with an inflation target of 11.9%. Now, 3 months before the end of the year, they've actually hit a target of or achieved 11.5%, and this is 3 clear months before the end of the year. So it appears that they have achieved and they've
exceeded the
target, and then they are on course to maybe achieve that
with 4 months to spare.
Yeah, to 4 months to spare, because this is for the month of August actually. So let's see whether they can keep that consistent slowdown, or there are any threats to this as well. And work on the country's second gas processing plant could commence in the coming months as government takes steps to take use of products coming from the country's oil fields. The business news on Newsnight is brought to you by MTN Business. Welcome to the new world of business.
Ma, have you received the delivery?
The Riders Bay. Send in the Momo.
Okay. *176.
Paco. Don't you use a smartphone? Use the Momo app, ne?
Huh? Abba app.
Hey, I want to say a millennium, say millennial. Inyim. Oh, millennium for ya nyaze. Switch to the app. Oh, you're smart. And you're secure.
Enter a world of possibilities with the Momo app. Pay your favorite merchant, pay utility bills, and borrow from our wide range of lending services. Move to the app side today. MTN.
Son, we are so proud of you for setting up this hospital. I really love those hospital beds and waiting chairs. By the way, did you import them?
No, Dad, I didn't. I actually got them from Kindle Books and Stationery right here in Ghana.
Wow. We also bought our office supplies, safes, executive desks and chairs from Kingdom, and they gave us expert advice on how to set up our office.
Guys, that makes 3 of us. I also got our sofa and bedroom sets, plus our dining hall furniture for our new home from Kingdom.
Wow, Mom, that makes 4 of us. I usually get my stationery items from Kingdom, and my teacher also mentioned that our classroom furniture was provided by Kingdom.
So there you have it. Whenever you're thinking about setting up an office or acquiring furniture for your home, etc., Kingdom Books and Stationery should be your first port of call. With over 40 years experience in the industry, we stock and supply a wide variety of globally sourced office and home furniture, stationery and equipment. Visit our head office, Takweje, Osu near the Osu Cemetery, Temania Community 4, Takoradi opposite Vijay Mays Plaza, Cape Coast University Bookshop, Bookshop, Spintex Road near Absa Bank, Atomic Centerpoint Mall, Winneba University Campus, KNUST, the University Bookshop, and Santasi in Kumasi. You can also visit our shop online, www.kingdomstoreonline.com. Hurry while stock lasts. For further inquiries, contact us on 050-162-0810 or 0302-764-101. Email info@kingdomgh.com. Kingdom Books and Stationery Limited, where quality and affordability is assured. Terms and conditions apply.
At Star Oil, we believe fuel is not just a commodity, it is a lifeline. Every cedi saved at the pump is a cedi that helps a mother send her child to school, a farmer transports food to the market, or a young entrepreneur deliver their first order. Our mission is to make fuel more accessible by offering consistently competitive prices, helping ease the financial burden on Ghanaian households. In a country where transportation costs can consume nearly a third of household income, this is not just business. It's a social responsibility. Star Oil, still quality and affordable fuels for all.
Are you clapping? Are you giving God the glory? Hallelujah! Every day you wake up shouting, my business is not moving. Customers are not coming. But look, my brother, my sister, who are you deceiving? Have you smiled today? Do you have the confidence to smile? Your face alone is chasing people away. Yeah! We all know that the problem is not a spiritual problem. The problem is a dental problem. She was saying, use Pepsodent charcoal toothpaste to remove yellow. Somebody shout amen.
Craft your smile with Pepsodent charcoal. It removes stains and whitens teeth. This advert is FDA approved.
The luckiest. Luck is everywhere for everyone. Yeah, the luckiest. Luck is everywhere for everyone, yeah. Money we define every day and night. Mama, dada keep on hustling for the family. The luckiest. Last time 712 hash. You can win some cash. You can be the luckiest with 1 CD. Luckiest with 5,000. The luckiest. The teacher, doctor, market woman. You can be the luckiest. Oh, the luckiest. Luck is everywhere for everyone. You can be the luckiest. The luckiest. Luck is everywhere for everyone. Star 712 hash. Luck is everywhere. Luck is everywhere. Oh, tell me, are you feeling lucky? Because I'm feeling lucky. Because I'm feeling like the ultimate. That how we go win. If I win, you win. You could be the luckiest. Saswabo. Sasu sasu e sikume tonton preko. Sasu sasu e sikume tonton preko. Edwana dramini abuseshe. Yeah, hakasia ne malaria. Minya me kwane me sasu spray. Every mosquito study run away. Oh, come on, tonton preko. Sasu sasu e sikume tonton preko. Oh, come on, tonton preko. Sasu kum tonton preko. Nani shamne die edemo stronko.
This advert is FDA approved.
Welcome back to Business on Newsnight. Now, government has hit its end of year inflation target way before December 2025. Now, this was after the August inflation rate dropped to 11.5%. There is more in this report.
Government in the 2025 budget was hoping to end the year with an inflation rate of 11.9%. However, with 3 clear months before the end of this year, Government has already achieved this feat. It's coming after inflation rate for the month of August dropped marginally to 11.5%. The Ghana Statistical Service notes the drop was fueled by declining price of food, transport fares, and other services over the past month. The data also showed all the regional inflation numbers were driven by transport and market access. The decline is the lowest Ghana has recorded since October 2021 and the 8th consecutive declines this year. Again, for the second time this year, there has been a deflation from July to August 2025. This means during that period, general price levels of goods and other food items went down by more than 1%. For instance, the decline in the price of herrings and vegetable oil also played a significant role, reducing the national inflation to this new level. The Statistical Service believes the significant drop in the inflation rate over the past year could demonstrate that programs aimed at slowing the rate is actually working. The Ghana Statistical Service believes the current inflation numbers should offer an opportunity for households to save more and shop smarter.
That is a business text report. Meanwhile, government statistician Dr. Hassan Idrisu says government can achieve the single-digit inflation target and actually consistent decline in the rates in the coming months if it sticks to the current fiscal consolidation program.
The Bank of Ghana must still continue to work with the Ministry of Finance to ensure that they implement both monetary and fiscal policies to contain inflation. I mentioned that one of the big drivers of inflation is fiscal consolidation. So government must continue on its fiscal consolidation trajectory. If we see very significant deviation from the path we have seen with regards to fiscal consolidation, for example, if you begin to see significant fiscal expansion, that may not bode well for the disinflation path we are seeing.
Government statistician Dr. Hassan Idrisu. Let's still stay on inflation because Economist Professor Peter Kote has maintained that government may still have to do more when it comes to food inflation, which is still high.
We are seeing much more significant decline in non-food inflation than food inflation. So it just points to the policymakers to look deeply, take a deep dive into the areas where we can improve food production, food supply, so we're able to reduce food inflation significantly. But I must say, from where we have come from, where in December food inflation was around 23.8%, and currently we are having 11.5% rate of inflation, is quite encouraging. And then the data really rich. It tells you the products that you will find higher inflation: coconut, watermelon, cashew, avocado, ginger, palm nuts, apple. These are the high inflation commodities that locally cause inflation.
And that is Economist Professor Peter Kote.
So, George, what does this really mean for consumers, and traders who visit the market? I go to the market to buy tomatoes. What does it mean? Am I likely to buy it at a lower price?
It depends on the commodity and also what the inflation statistician is telling us, that the rate of increase compared to that of last year has slowed. It doesn't mean that prices are actually coming down, but the rate of increment has actually been slowing. Now, don't want to get it complicated, but if you also want to do what they call the month-on-month,
yes.
For the first time or for the second time this year, we saw deflation, meaning that prices actually went down. Look at the basket of goods that you measure when it comes to the national inflation calculation.
So we spoke to some traders and consumers at the Malamata market here in Accra. Have a listen.
The prices of things are actually good now. These potatoes I sell used to be very expensive, but it's okay now. A sack sold at 1,500, but it's at 1,000 cedis and 1,200 cedis now. On point. Now go to Kony 1,500. They say you say 1,000, 1,200.
But yeah, they say India. But prices
are currently okay, although some commodities still remain quite expensive.
So the inflation rate that has gone down hasn't really reflected in my pocket. Just this afternoon I went to Accra to buy a blender that used to sell at 270 cedis. Today is going for 320.
And you had some market women and some market women at the Malamata market here in Accra.
Well, to other stories, and work on the country's second gas processing plant could commence soon, or maybe in the coming months. Now, that's according to the head of corporate affairs at the Ghana gas processing plant, Mensah. He tells Joy Business government could soon come up with the dates and timelines for the project.
Led by His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, is very much committed to start the second processing plant. You know, this project is long overdue. Unfortunately, it didn't materialize. And the President and the Minister of Energy are very much committed. There was a technical committee to review whatever work that's done previously, and they have finished their report and they have submitted to Cabinet. If not for the tragedy that befell us as a country, I think by now we would have known the timelines. So within the shortest possible time, I think when Cabinet meets, they will give us the timeline for the commencement of the second processing plant.
And that is the head of corporate communications at Ghana Gas, Mensah. Now, the National Information Technology Agency says that it is on course in developing a shared e-commerce platform that would host small and medium enterprises in the country. Technical Services Director at the agency, Solomon Richardson, explained that the platform will run a 24-hour service that would support trade in goods and services under government's 24-hour economic program. He spoke to Joy Business at the 4th e-commerce forum, an exhibition organized by the German Agency for International Cooperation, GIZ.
Will deploy a shared digital marketplace and onboard all the SMEs so that once that process is automated and is there, he can go to sleep whilst the platform is selling for them. So you get up at night and then you want to buy some things. You don't need to interact directly with an SME, but you go online because the platform is automated. You are able to place your order. By the next time you wake up, order is being processed by another group of people and then you'll be receiving it. So this is how we think that we can scale up by now providing platform as a shared service for the SMEs that cannot pay for an end-to-end e-commerce platform.
Solomon Richardson is the Technical Director Services at the National Information Technology Agency. To the stock market, if you were an MTN share with their PESA was off at the end of trading. Now the shares were 3 Ghana cedis, 84 pesos. That of GCB was also up by 97 pesos. And that's all for business on News Night. Back to you, pal.
Georgia, thank you so much for bringing us the latest in the world of business. It's time for sports, and Achutama Close here. What do we have?
Well, less than 24 hours after the Sports Ministry made public the details of the approved budgets for the Black Stars World Cup qualifiers against Chad and Mali, the Ghana Football Association has responded. In a statement that was released today, the GFA says it has taken careful note of statements made at the press briefing on Tuesday. As the custodian of the Ghana football, the FA will, in due course, provide clarification to the issues raised. They say that they, however, deem it prudent that at this time they maintain their collective focus on the immediate national task at hand, the crucial 2026 FIFA World Cup qualifying matches against Chad tomorrow, Thursday, September 4, and on Monday, the game against Mali. The Stars require the unflinching support of all Ghanaians as they prepare to navigate these important encounters. The unity and commitment, the statement says, their supporters have always been the team's greatest strength, and they urge the nation to keep the spirit alive. Once the match against Mali is concluded, the GFA will make its comprehensive remarks regarding the ministry's statements. And that's your sports.
Thank you very much, Achu Tamaklu, for the latest in the world of sports. Now, Evans, it's known as the Tree of Life, feeding families, curing illnesses, and sustaining generations. But in the Upper East regional town of Binduri, the baobab tree is dying. In communities like Bansi, changing weather patterns and environmental decline are crippling a tree that once held an entire community together. Today on Climate Focus, Joy News' Mahmoud Mohammed Nuruddin brings you a story on fading roots, lost livelihoods, and a call for urgent action.
Across the savannas of northern Ghana, the baobab tree towers like an ancient guardian, but today these giants are in distress. In Binduri, especially in the Bansit community, farmers are seeing the trees slowly die and are no longer producing fruits.
When I moved into this house, the flourishing baobab tree was a valuable resource for us. We would harvest its leaves to make nutritious soups. However, over the past 3 years, the tree has struggled with poor fruit production. To make matters worse, whenever it does produce fruit, pests seem to appear, further diminishing its yield. This decline has been concerning, and finding a solution to restore the tree's health and productivity has become a priority.
Baobab leaves are an important part of meals in northern Ghana. The fruit is full of vitamin C, but now some baobab trees have stopped growing leaves.
We used to sell at least, if it is up to that time, we'll get money out of it. We'll make money. We used to make money out of it.
Experts say there are many reasons. The weather keeps changing and windstorms happen without warning. Trees that lived for hundreds of years are now falling because they can't fight these problems. Some farmers are asking for help. They want research and protection for one of Africa's most important natural resources. A report by Mohamed Nuruddin.
Climate Focus is brought to you by Joy News in partnership with Youth Bridge Foundation, bridging gaps for positive youth development, and the Climate Development Knowledge Network.
And that's how we end News Night. My name is Ofori.
And my name is Mensah. Enjoy the rest of your evening.
Joy 99.7 FM.
The winning season is back, but this time I am collecting the wins like jollof at a wedding. The luckiest season 3 is here. Your chance to flip your luck, or maybe your bank accounts too.
2 easy ways to join. Dial *712#. Hit 1 to buy for you, or 2 to gift a friend. Feeling lucky? Pick 1 for a random number, or hit 2 to choose your own. Pay with mobile money. Done. You're in.
Or go to the luckiestafrica.com, click community tickets, choose your number, or let the system do so for you. You can buy a ticket for your boo or your favorite barber. Pay with Momo or card if you're abroad.
1 ticket could turn your 1 Ghana cedi into 500 times more. And the whole community could win 10 times over.
Dial *712# or log on.
Let's get lucky together, because luck is everywhere.
Couldn't sleep at night. Mosquitoes will be whining my ears, bugging me all night long. Till I got a remedy. Now I'll be spraying them away with holy insecticide spray. Me I go spray them away.
Vitoquel Holy Multi-Purpose Insecticide Spray. Ghana Kron Kron. For bulk purchase, call 0302 681582. This advert is FDA approved.
Ah, my little ones, gather around. Once upon a time in the heart of Accra, a man in his fancy car sought directions. But oh, the Ghanaian way.
Hello, bro. Good afternoon. Can you please show me where the Presby Church is? Go straight. 10 left at the big mango tree with the broken branches with most of the mangoes falling. Ask there. Anybody will show you.
And when the Black Stars take to the field, every Ghanaian becomes a coach. Ah, the sacred cue for our beloved Gobe. As you wait patiently, rehearsing the perfect vibes. These, my dear ones, are some few moments that make our Ghana truly special. And as we share these stories, let us also remember a plate of lily rice, connecting our hearts through the flavors of our culture. Special moments are worth celebrating with lily rice. Lily rice, yenimno free tete. This advert is FDA approved.
Momo. It has made life happen in lots of good ways.
Mr. Kwanzaa, Mensah insurance claim no.
It has put together beautiful weddings. It has filled the bellies of boys at their favorite watchy joint.
My guy, stop. Who they chop cancel these days?
It has made millions of businesses possible.
Mensah no. We are back in business.
With just a few taps, money moves faster, easier, and safer. Momo understands the weight of your trust in us. We continuously enhance security with features like self-paying research to help you protect your money. Momo will only call you with 0244 300,000. No MTN or Momo staff will call or ask for your PIN or one-time password. Do not transfer funds to anyone whose identity you have not verified. Do not approve any prompts you have not initiated. Momo, still Munsaka.
In every community, the skyline is dotted with uncompleted buildings. Some at the foundation and others at lintel or roofing level. Each one tells a story, a dream, a home in the making, because home ownership remains one of humanity's greatest desires. Wherever you are on this journey, whether you are breaking ground, building up, or simply furnishing your space, the Joy News EcoBank Habitat Fair is designed with you in mind. Join us from Friday, the 12th of September to Sunday, the 14th of September 2025 at Good Park near Accra Mall for Joy News EcoBank Habitat Fair 3rd Clinic 2025. Let's help turn your home ownership dream into a lived reality. EcoBank, the Pan-African bank, partners the EcoBank Joy News Habitat Fair and brought to you by Drive EVGH. Drive into a sustainable future. Virtual Security Africa. Security for all. Safety and home solutions. You think of a door? We have it. Superlock Technologies Limited. You deserve the best. DPS Pipes, connecting you to life. Elegant Homes and General Construction Limited, where quality meets value. Gold Key Properties, transforming the landscape. Ayuda, Ghana's #1 services app. App Bako, Services Bebre. Special Gardens, Memorable Living. DBS Industries Limited. We truly are your roof masters. Door masters, the best indoors. Lesh Fortune Limited, unleashing luxury with perfection, one space at a time. LandlordAfrica.com, bringing the real estate industry to your doorstep. The Builders Market, bathroom, get it right. Right House Energy Limited, let's build smarter energy together. Masters in solar installation. Syntex Tank, Air Strong, Air Tough. Interplus, we make sure water reaches you even in space. Gilbert Security Doors, protecting lives and properties. Clifton Homes, beautiful homes, wise investments. Western Villas, where dream meet reality. EcoBank Joy News Habitat Fair 2025. Dream it, own it, live it.
Joy 99.7 FM.
Say J is the joy that I give you every day. Oh, say it's for on. Cause every time I hear the joy in there. Say why is for yeah. Cause every time I hear joy time, I hear the joy. I don't want to irritate my joy. I don't want to turn on to irritate my joy. I don't want to turn on. Hello, this is Morris, and I say keep on listening to George 99.7 FM.